Yet true resilience, especially for us empaths, is the reclamation of your own space. It's the moment you say, I can hold myself through this. I can listen to my intuition, my body, my truth, even if others don't understand. Welcome to Intuition Unlocked, the podcast empowering empathic women who feel misunderstood, overwhelmed, or disconnected from their intuition, begin to trust their sensitivities, find inner clarity, and show up with embodied, unstoppable confidence in their daily lives. I am your host, Olivia Ashley, an empath and intuitive, and I am so happy you're here. Hello, and welcome to Intuition Unlocked. I'm truly so grateful you're here. Whether you're listening on your morning walk, driving to work, or just carving out a quiet moment for yourself, thank you for being here. Today, I'm going to dive into something that has been weaving through so many conversations lately, both in my own life and with the women I support, and that is resilience. Not the kind of push harder, be tougher resilience either that the world often glorifies, but the kind that comes from deep trust in yourself. The resilience that says, no matter what life brings, I can meet it. I can bend, but I will not break. And I can trust myself enough to move with the unknown, not against it. So in this episode, we'll explore 3 things: what true authentic resilience really is and how it's different from simply being strong, how to find and define your own version of resilience that aligns with your energy, intuition, and natural rhythm, and finally, some practices to cultivate this inner trust and grounded strength, especially if you're an empath, intuitive, or highly sensitive soul who often feels the world a little more deeply. So take a breath with me and let's drop in together. When I talk about cultivating resilience, I don't mean hardening yourself to life. I mean softening into trust. Resilience to me is the embodied knowing that you will meet whatever life brings, the joy, the loss, the pivots, the opportunities, with presence, grace, strength, and self-trust. It's that quiet voice inside that says, I may not have all the answers right now, but I trust that I'm going to find my way. And I was reflecting recently that when I was younger, the resilience I clung to and cultivated looked quite a bit different. At 18, I got a tattoo that said, live without regrets. It was this declaration of independence and my way of saying that I was going to live boldly, take risks, and never hold back. And that I will leave everything on the table and not let others' opinions sway me. And a few years later, I added another tattoo. This time it said, she flies with her own wings. Again, it was another sentiment that I was capable of creating my own path, the life I wanted, and being there for myself first and foremost. Because up until that time, I felt truly unseen and lonely and misunderstood, and like I had to go at the world alone. And those feelings were really rooted in this very rebellious, wildly independent energy and period of my life. And it was a version of me that felt that I had to do everything on my own to prove myself, to prove my strength. But as I've grown and become a mother and began mothering myself and relearning and reprogramming these beliefs, I see now that even while maybe those were not the healthiest stances to hold, those declarations and those affirmations of sorts offered me an anchor in a sea of chaos, and that what I was expressing was something true and is still actually very relevant to me even today. It's that knowing that I will always find a way to rise, to adapt, to learn, and to create something, whether I'm in the midst of being reborn or in the midst of a death or somewhere in between. So that reflection of those claimings of myself and how far I've come is what made me want to talk about resilience today, because it's always been a fire within me that I've held, that I've known was there, that I knew I could trust within myself. But I've also learned that at this point, it is softened greatly. It's still there, it's still strong, but I have a much healthier, more aligned, more authentic relationship with that stance that I take and why I'm holding it. And that energy shifted from I no longer needed to prove myself. It more became I just trust. I'm here, I'm present, and I'm navigating. And that has helped a lot. Because life has a way of humbling and expanding all of us, right? We move through heartbreak and loss, identity shifts, and those beautiful, terrifying opportunities that stretch us into who we're becoming. And what I've learned is that resilience is not about never falling apart or never feeling those hard feelings or moving through hard things. It's more about knowing that even when you do, you can always come home to yourself again. And this topic of resilience feels extra relevant and important because many of us are going through this big void period and a push into and through a period of transformation. And with that comes the need to feel fortified, observant, and capable to be open and flow through this time if we want to make the best of it. So if you resonate with that, I see that this period is helping you to remove any masks you're holding and to strip you of outdated beliefs, experiences, and aspects that are no longer in alignment for you. And this can feel scary and ungrounding, but in reality, I'm shown that you can move through this time with greater ease if you can embrace this as a new adventure. If you can be open to this time and what it's bringing you by remembering that you're being led where you need to go and be, and that you can help yourself by remembering and embracing that resilient self within you, the power that only you carry, the embodiment and authenticity and expression of that resilience that is unique to you. Because how I feel resilient and show up in that way is different than how you do. And if you're like me, you're probably deeply intuitive, empathic, or sensitive to the world around you. And with that, this need and this topic for resilience goes even deeper. Because sensitivity, I see, is a superpower, but you have to make sense of it and you have to learn what really is causing your sensitivities and how to help fortify and support yourself as you navigate them. Because otherwise, the world can feel very overwhelming and very loud, and you're picking up on all these energies, emotions, expectations, and taking them in, internalizing them. Us highly sensitives tend to and sometimes lose ourselves in the noise of others. And for many of us, there's a wounding beneath that sensitivity. There are old stories and reasons why we're doing this, which are, I can't trust myself, or I need validation to know I'm safe, or if I'm strong, then I'm going to be alone. Yet true resilience, especially for us empaths, is the reclamation of your own space. It's the moment you say, I can hold myself through this. I can listen to my intuition, my body, my truth, even if others don't understand. And that's when resilience shifts, because it's not built through resistance or defense. It's actually built through connection. Connection to yourself, to your body's signals and needs, to your intuition, to the earth, to spirit, to the present moment. That's where resilience really starts, is this moment. And through knowing yourself so truthfully and authentically that you know what you need to be resilient or how that shows up for you. And when you know yourself this deeply, when you're so rooted in your own truth, you move through life differently. You get to make decisions from clarity, not fear, and you respond instead of react. Or if you do react, you know that you can take a breath, reset, and then respond again or learn from it. And when life shakes you, whether it's with a great opportunity, but it's scary, or it's something really challenging and hard, you can bend to it, you can be present in it, but you never lose your center. Or if you do, you always know that you'll find it again. And with that, I want to be clear that resilience and strength do not mean strong-arming your way through life. They don't mean being hard-headed or pretending you're fine or doing everything alone. It's a true strength. The kind we're talking about here is soft. It's intuitive. It's knowing when to lean in and when to let go, when to take action and when to surrender. It's saying, I trust myself enough to pause. I trust myself enough to wait for alignment. I trust that I'm guided even when I can't see the path ahead, or I trust that I'm taking the next right step. There's a beautiful power that grows in this space, a strength in your backbone, your step, your heart, your voice that gets to come forward. It's the kind of strength that doesn't crumble when plans change or doors close, when loss comes or opportunity knocks and that fear rises, because you know deeply that you can assess and you will meet it all. And from that place, resilience becomes your compass. It's not a shield. It's actually this steadiness that's going to guide you back to yourself again and again. So how do you begin to cultivate that kind of resilience in your own life? Here are a few pathways that I find really powerful, especially for us empaths and intuitives. The first one is to listen deeply, especially when you want to distract or fix. I really see that resilience grows from presence. When things feel uncomfortable, uncertain, or painful, our instinct is often to distract or control. But the invitation here is to pause, to check in, to ask your body, what do I need right now? To ask your intuition, what truth am I being shown here? Or what's the next best step? That moment of stillness allows that seed of resilience to grow because you're choosing to meet yourself with compassion instead of avoidance, and you're being less reactive and more thoughtful with what you're going to do as you face whatever it is you're facing. The second practice is to anchor into practices that resource you, because you're only as resilient as you are fortified and resourced. Your resilience is not going to be very strong when you're depleted. So building rituals that resource your energy, that build it up and nourish you, are going to make sure that well of resilience is well filled. So maybe it's breath work. Maybe it's time in nature, journaling, grounding your feet on the earth. Maybe it's none of those things. It's whatever you want to do that helps you feel good, helps you feel full, connected, and present, like you can move about your day, but you're anchored within yourself. Because these practices are not luxuries. It's not even really self-care. They're lifelines. They're core to allowing yourself to navigate this very busy, distorted, confusing world that we live in that's constantly on, constantly asking for your attention. Can you take a breath and come back and say, okay, before I go out, how do I tend to myself first? All these things will also help your nervous system remember safety and remind your body what it feels like to be embodied and be here in this moment, and help your intuition be more loud and clear so you know what your truth is. The last practice I'll offer is trust the cycle. I really see that resilience is cyclical. It's not linear. And you might feel like you've figured it out and then realize, wow, I've learned a lot, or I've grown, and my resilience and what that looks like is different now. So be open to the seasons where you feel really strong, and then there's seasons where you're resting and you don't feel quite as resilient or that strength coming through. You're going to have moments where you feel really bold and empowered, and the moments where you need a retreat and rebuild that well. Both of those are important, and anywhere in between. The most important piece is to trust the rhythm of your own unfolding, because every time you fall and rise again, those roots deepen, your trust within yourself deepens, and you are reminded of that strength and your resilience. And on the flip side, every time you surrender, your trust can expand because you showed up for yourself. You're tending to yourself when it's needed. And over time, this trust will really become embodied, not just because it's something you believe in your mind, it's something you know in your bones and in your truth. And that's where this power, this expression can really grow and expand from. And your life can really start to look a bit different when you have this resilience that you understand, that you are able to uniquely call forward and create that looks good and feels good for you. So maybe today you take a moment to ask yourself, what does resilience mean to me right now in this season of my life? Maybe it's trusting that you'll find your way through a transition. Maybe it's allowing yourself to be seen and supported instead of doing it all alone. Maybe it's choosing to follow your intuition even if it isn't making logical sense. Whatever it is, know this. This trust in yourself is the foundation of everything. It's what builds our confidence. It's what builds our intuition. It's what gives us an anchor, but also that North Star. Because when you're rooted in who you are, when you're resourced in your energy, and when you are connected to your intuition and the wisdom of your body, you can move through life with greater clarity, confidence, and grace. But it's a practice. So it's not something that may ever feel fully realized. It's something that's going to change. It's going to evolve. You'll have to play with and get curious about as you shift through your life, as you grow, as you age. But I can promise you that when you have it, wherever you are, you will feel more emboldened and ready to take on and be a part of an active player in co-creating your life. You become resilient not because life just gets easier, but because you have remembered who you are. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope this conversation nourished something inside of you, a remembering of your own power, trust, and innate strength. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with one friend or leave a review so more intuitive, empathic women can find this space. And as always, keep listening inward, keep trusting your path, and keep unlocking your intuition. And I'll be here every week in this space helping you to grow and unlock that intuition. Until next time, be well. Thank you for joining me on Intuition Unlocked. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of insight, guidance, or intuitive inspiration. To dive deeper into our community and get access to exclusive content, head to my website at www.olivia-ashley.com and subscribe to my newsletter. You can also connect with me on Instagram at wildlyolivia for daily inspiration and updates. Remember, your intuition is your superpower. Trust it, nurture it, and let it guide you. Until next time, I'm Olivia Ashley, and I can't wait to connect with you again.